What's up, everyone? Hey, whether you watching this recorded or watching it live on YouTube, I'm Ken Sankara. This is Be Empowered Hour. We plan on going an hour talking about certain topics, and hopefully y'all having a good time tonight, enjoying yourself. I know it was a hard day at work for most of you guys, but we have a special show for y'all today. A special broadcast. Tonight, I have my comrade from Black Empowerment Movement. I have Joshua. I had Jaleel from New Era, Atlanta. I have my boy JoJo, straight out of Dallas, locally. He does a lot of things in the community. So before we get started, I just want to give everyone on the panel a chance to go to introduce themselves. And I start off with Joshua. Go ahead, introduce yourself. Tell people about yourself and what you do locally in the area.
Man, what's happening? What's happening? What's happening? My name is Joshua. Um, right now, just in Fort Worth. I'm doing some work down there at TCU, married with kids, and just doing whatever I need to do to support BEM.
Man, that's what's up. And Jaleel, what's going on with you in Atlanta?
Peace and love, family. Brother Jalil Molly Bay. Some may know me as Brother Judge. I have the honor, the privilege, and the pleasure of serving as the president of New Era Atlanta, which is the Atlanta chapter of New Era Nation. We have chapters all over the map. We have chapters in Detroit, Chicago, Birmingham, Cleveland, Los Angeles, Long Beach, Miami. Just got a new chapter in Long Island. Just got a chapter started in Nigeria. We actually have a chapter in Dallas as well. So we're a community-based organization. We do a lot of work just geared towards finding solutions to the problem. And as I stated, I'm over the Atlanta chapter. We got some really serious things going on. We're building up our security. We're doing street patrols, feeding the people. And myself, 25 years old, religious man, proudly Muslim, and I just love my people. So that's it. Peace.
Man, good shit. JoJo, go ahead.
Yeah, JoJo, the empathetic asshole, enlightened hypocrite, Captain Love Deposit, Mr. FOE, Fatherhood of every hood, man, down here in Dallas, Texas, and just doing what we can do to serve and to help the people uplift. That's what it is.
Man, good stuff. And also, I'm Chairman Ken Sankara from Black Empowerment Movement, if some of y'all don't already know. But before we get started and jump into this topic, I just want to remind everyone that's watching, please go subscribe to the Black Empowerment Movement channel. Subscribe, share videos. We have a lot of good content on the channel, so please subscribe, share the videos, leave a comment. If you're watching right now, hey, leave a comment regarding things you may hear. You may want to jump on as well. So leave a comment saying you want to jump on. I send you the link so you can jump on. But without further ado, let's jump into this, guys. I basically want to have this conversation because I feel like it's a disconnect between the black men and women in the community. And I hear this a lot. A lot of women say they feel like black men in the community police their bodies. And I just want to start off with that. Is that a valid statement? Jojo, how you feel about that? Like, do you feel like black men try to control and police women bodies, whether regarding their they weight, how they wear their hair, they dress? How you feel about that? You feel like it's any validity to that statement?
I mean, first, if I say just from life and learning and living, and what I've had to learn is, and it wasn't something that I was taught as a youth. It wasn't something that that was groomed in me. But I've learned that you have to listen to the women. You know what I mean? Bottom line. And like I say, I learned, but I wasn't taught. Everything that you learn, you're not necessarily taught, right? So my thing is, if women feel like they are being policed, and this is an overwhelming sentiment, right? I can't say if it's true or not, but I say listen to the women.
Jaleel?
The question is, are we policing women's bodies?
Yeah, do you feel like we are?
I would have to say yes, but no at the same time. I say yes because we as men, we do have preferences, and
Uh-huh.
I think that those preferences can be misconstrued as trying to dictate to women what they should or should not do. But do I think that we're walking around, forcing women to do anything that they don't want to do? By and large, no, I do not. I do not think that that's what's going on. I think it's just miscommunication and misunderstanding going on.
What about you, Josh?
I have to agree with that last point. For me, it's definitely some miscommunication. Like when I hear policing, women's bodies, like I think of, writing laws, enacting policies that basically dictate what you can and can't wear, what your attire can and cannot be. And obviously, it's not us making these laws. So when I hear policing, I would have to say, I would have to say no, just from that perspective, right? Now, if you want to talk about, we might have our preferences and then we might share them, but again, I think there's a lot of miscommunication and misunderstanding. But do we have the actual power and authority to actually like enforce a dress code or attire or what women do with their bodies legally? Nah, I would have to say no on that.
I think it's important, Ken, too, that we don't get. And I agree with everything that both of the brothers have said thus far, but I think that it's important that we don't fall into the word of policing, right? So
Yeah,
when you say policing, and like that brother just said, yes, we can't enact laws. We aren't technically policing like legally. There won't be any legal ramifications, right? Because of our viewpoints on how we express our preferences. So I don't want to get caught up in the policing uh, aspect, right? But do we police them emotionally or physically or expressively as it relates and pertains to the black man? So when you say police, I automatically give you that grace to say, okay, I know you're not meaning it literally. You know
yeah,
what I mean? Of course we don't have that power. But
yeah.
what are we doing
Yeah,
emotionally?
I think more we I think police could be more so of a trigger word or a strong word. More so, we um we give a lot of opinion on the things our sisters are doing in the community. Because let's be honest, like, and I could be wrong. This is my honest opinion. I feel like we don't have no type of control um over our women, per se, black women nowadays. They pretty much the freest they ever been, and we don't have any control to tell them what to do or how to do it. Um, I think this my honest opinion. I think things have went to the so far to how things uh used to be that men are finally speaking up about like hell it's a because we noticed that it's a weird shift going on right now. It's like so far out there that men are saying, okay, we've been silent for too long. Now we finally saying, okay, enough is enough. It's time for us to say something now. Um, and I think the women been so used for years and decades now not used to black men saying anything to them, especially with the advent of social media now. Men can be a little more outspoken. How y'all feel about that, Jaleel?
Yes, I agree 100% with you. With the advent of social media and men being more vocal, because we got to remember, and like I know I'm probably the youngest person on the panel, but I am old enough to remember that we have places like the barber shop. You might be out in the neighborhood, you know, fooling around. We'd be in places and spaces where men could congregate and talk about certain things, you know, and we would voice these opinions amongst each other, but we didn't necessarily have the platforms that we do now to voice them on a larger scale, you know. So when it comes to the appearance of women, how they act, how they dress, we would talk about these things amongst each other. But now in the age where you got shows like Street Part Self, you have programs and broadcasts like this, you got your Kevin Samuels, you got your Special Fit, you got all these various platforms that are giving voice to men and what it is that men desire, particularly you know, brothers, what it is that we desire, because for most of our history, it's been I wouldn't say repressed. Yeah, I'll say that it's been repressed not by the women themselves, but by us. You know, we as men, we have it's like a self-censoring mechanism that we have. You know, we because of our desire to protect women, because of our desire to, if I could use the word, coddle them, you know, we won't say certain things just instinctively because we don't want to hurt their feelings, even if it's something that we, in our heart and our mind, truly feel is something, you know, that we want to articulate. We will still censor that because we don't want to cause any problems or cause any risk. So I think with the rise of social media and platforms like this, the male perspective, particularly the black male perspective, is being put on front street, and it's a very unusual circumstance that our sisters are running into because they're not used to hearing it. So they think we're being influenced by these different people when all along this is how we really think, but we just kept our mouth shut.
That's a good point. I do hear that a lot from women. It's like, ah, y'all just saying this shit now because Kevin Samuels talking like this now, and so is talking like this. But in actuality, a lot of these guys that's on YouTube now and doing things, they really got a lot of their information from the streets. You know, it's a lot of shit that was already being said, and they just took it and ran with it. And a lot of stuff really not their original ideas. They got the ideas from us. You know, being around just everyday people, and they ran with it and made money with it off social media. To be honest with it, not hating them for doing it, but actually, it's the opposite. Like we didn't get it from them; they got it from us. Just talking amongst ourselves, whether it's right or wrong. Uh, and I'm gonna go to you, Joe, because you have daughters. I don't have any kids. Josh, you have daughters. I'm gonna go to you too. But Joe, with you having with young ladies, uh, as a father figure, you feel like do you feel like it's your responsibility to guide them and to be able to say to present themselves in a certain way? Like, what does that conversation look like? Because I'm trying to figure out what is the disconnect between, to me, the women out here now. I, I don't go out much. People think I go out a lot, but when I do go out, I'm very shocked about what I see. I see the women out with little to no clothes on. They wear the stankiest outfits and look like they should be on Harry Hines to me. I'm like, oh my God, y'all going out or y'all going to pull tricks? So what? So my thing is like, what do you instill in your girls, you know, your
Look, look,
young ladies, regarding presenting themselves or along those lines?
man, look, let me tell you something. Uh, you keep saying the word control, 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 control. That's a trigger word, right?
Mm-hmm.
And let me tell you something. One thing you can't do, and what I've learned. See, all of my experience has come. I've been married for 10 years. I've been with the same woman for 15 years. I got 3 daughters. My oldest daughter is 21. You know what I mean? This month, next week, right?
Oh
So
wow.
all of this come from learning. You can't control. You can't control and love at the same time, bro. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So all of this shit, people talking about when I have daughters, they not gonna do this, they not gonna do that, or I'm gonna be this type of father. No, you don't know what type of father you're gonna be. You know what I mean? You don't know what you're gonna have to deal with because parenting is not controlling, it's rearing and responding to. You know what I'm saying? So you're gonna always be adjusted with your child. So I said that to say this, right? Yes, I teach my kids you will not dress like this. I don't approve of this hair, right? I don't approve of this hair. I don't approve of these nails. I say no, no a lot, but I also to teach them to speak up, to articulate themselves, to express themselves to me, and to challenge me, right?
Yeah.
So when it comes down to the come down, I have a say, but as they get up there, you can't control them. You have to let them express themselves and see who they would be. You know what I mean? So it's a sense of letting go and allowing them their process. Now, when they talk about policing, and I see you, right? You do a lot of what I would call, Kintu, is playful, right? But it's triggering. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? Because when we talk about the issues in our community, man, a lot of these women are walking around with a lot of trauma, bro. You know what I'm saying? And it has nothing to do with us. So I think the question becomes, are we responsible as men? You know what I mean? For these random women. Because like you said, I don't go out. I've been with the same woman. I very rarely have these discussions. Why? Because I've been with the same woman all this time. I only talk to her about her hair and nails and what she wear. You know what I'm saying? I've been parenting. I only talk to them, so I don't have these discussions. So when I go out, I see some shit, it fuck me up too. I'm like, God damn, I see what niggas be talking about. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? But what is our responsibility to these women with this trauma, or that we feel are misguided? You know what I mean? Do we have a responsibility to them?
Man, I'm gonna go back to that, Joe, because
Okay.
that's a very, very great point. Joshua, what about you and your family?
I mean, the brother made a good point. When it comes to me and my daughters, I had to have this conversation with my oldest like a while back. When I mean a while back, I'm talking like a couple months ago. We know where this thing called perception, and unfortunately, right, everybody has their perceptions, right, of us. So I gave this an example, right? If you didn't know me and you saw me walking down the street, right, and you see me, my pants is sagging. You can see like a fourth of my butt crack. You can see all my drawers, and I'm wearing a tank top with my hat, or excuse me, wife beater, and my hat cocked to the side. What would you think of me, right? And then my daughter said what she would think of me, and so and I asked her, and I said, okay, without you knowing me, right? That's not really fair, is it? She was like, no. And I was like, well, you got to keep that in mind when you decide to dress. How you gonna dress. Not saying that you let that necessarily influence you and your decision making, but you just have to be aware of that. And I know so. And just like what the other brother was saying, when we talk about, policing and controlling and them being trigger words, so I don't say that. I say govern, right?
Yeah.
Like, so I try to govern my household, the best way that I can. And so I can't govern, nobody else except my wife and my three daughters, right? And so outside of them, then when I'm out and I see some crazy stuff, and again, like we all said, some of it just really like messed me up. But then I just have to look at it and be like, I mean, I can't do nothing about it. She's her own free will, so I might not co-sign it, but I'm not gonna like beat upside the head
Yeah.
with it either.
And man, that's amazing that the men with families and with daughters, y'all pretty much kind of identity said the same thing. Uh, y'all govern your own household and just to basically do the best you can with your girls, to show them the right way. But is that the key? Is we need more fathers in the household to give young ladies guidance, um, because realistically, uh, we got a lot of single parents and they don't have fathers in the household. So as men in the community, whether you have your own family or like me don't have a family, and Julia don't have a family, what is our role to the overall Black community as men? What, like, once we govern our household, do we have a responsibility to go outside of that boundary and be an example for the community? I don't have opinions. I mean, I would like to go back to you, Joe. Do you feel like we have a responsibility as men once we take care of the home to govern and be an example outside in the community? And if so, what does that look like?
I think that we all have a responsibility, bro. You know what I mean? If you black in America, whether you single, married, got kids, don't have kids, you have a responsibility to your community. You know what I mean? But like I say, you got to think about where we come from in our communities. You got to think about our households and our upbringing, right? You know what I mean? And like me and this brother, we sharing the same sentiments. And I don't know about his upbringing, but the lessons and the stuff that I'm talking about you and relating to women and understanding women, I learned that through parenting. I learned that through being with the same woman and having to make adjustments in rear, right? So what I'm saying to that is, if you have a single brother that has these issues, and because the relationship is the gym where you strengthen these muscles and when you learn these things, right? So that makes it easier for me to relate to women in the community when I go out in the community, because I have a different sensitivity, because I have a wife, I have daughters. So now I have a different sensitivity and I have a different understanding, because I could see, you know, what you didn't get, what I'm giving to my kids. You know what I'm saying? So I approach you and I deal with you with a certain sensitivity, right? So what I'm saying is, yes, we have a responsibility to teach, to lead, but you also have a responsibility to listen and learn. And I don't think that a lot of men take the time to really hear. Bro, I was beaten to that shit. You know what I'm saying? It's not
Mm-hmm.
like society is so fucked up, and what they teach us when it comes to women just being realistic. It was 30 when I had that understanding. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It was I've been with the same woman for 15 years, but that's not my first relationship. You know what I'm saying? I got kids from previous relationships, and I did those women so fucking dirty, not knowing. And like, so I'm saying it's just a learning. So what, to make it short, because you know I'm winded, bro. You know what I
No, you
mean?
good, brother.
Yeah, to for single men or men who are not practicing in the gym at their household, when you're dealing with women, realize that you have a duty to teach, but you also have a lot to learn. You know what I mean? So I would just advise men and men to listen to the women, hear the women out.
Facts.
Yeah.
Nothing but facts. Because I mean, so same with me. Like I got married, right? I've been married for 12 years, and so there were just a lot of things that I just didn't understand about women in general until I got married, and then I had to learn how to listen to my wife, how to adjust, how to, nurture her needs, this, that, and the third, and that took time. And so yeah, what he said was straight facts.
Yeah, appreciate that.
Man, that's now that's a good point. It's being in those relationships with your wife, then having girls, it seemed like it teaches you patience, which is a good thing, because I have none of it.
Yeah,
I have none of it. That's I salute you guys. Yeah, I need to send some of that towards my way.
yeah.
Um, but it seemed like even I I don't think women listen to men though. I don't think they listen to us. Like all this patience we need to have for them, I don't think they have zero for us. I don't. Jaleel, what's your thoughts on that? Do you feel like they have patience to even listen to us? Because I feel like as men, like if women, this is another thing I hear. I hear all the black men, they ain't protecting us. They ain't doing this for us. They ain't doing that for us. But but the thing is, y'all don't even want to listen to us. Like this is my opinion. If you don't listen to us, you don't want to put our input in on anything. Then at the end of the day, you get shit from us. What's your thoughts on that, Jaleel?
I just want to say that to a great extent, I do agree with the other two brothers in that you have to actually be engaging with the women in order to really understand them. I just got out of a relationship. Me and the young women, me and the young woman are still cool. But I definitely learned a lot about myself, and I learned a lot about her, and the female mentality. Now, be it, I grew up with my father. He's out of town visiting my mom. My parents been married for 24 years, been together for 26 years. You know, so I come from a household where the man was my dad's law. My dad's word was law. You understand? There is no ifs, ands, or buts. There's consideration, but his was the final word. So being that that's the standpoint that I come from, I automatically enter relationships with a different mindset than a lot of my brothers who grew up mainly with women. Now I got a twin sister and I got a younger sister, but I still grew up with men. So I come in with a certain mentality. To your point, no, I don't think that women listen to me. I think that our opinions are only as valuable as let me articulate this properly. Our opinions are only as valuable to women as far as they can serve and uplift that woman. But if it's to criticize, constructive criticism, if it's, hey, don't do this, do that, well, then I can actually say that no, they don't listen. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad was talking about our people. He said that our people are easy to lead in the wrong direction and hard to lead in the right direction. Then he comes back and says that 70% of the work that they do is with the women. Because a lot of our sisters are indeed easy to lead in the wrong direction and hard to lead in the right. Now, that's not nothing that's their fault. To me, that's just female nature. They have to be able to recognize you as that leader. And if they don't recognize you as that leader, well, then they're going to test you. They're going to try you, which is, it's all to me from what I've experienced. That's just a part of their programming. So I'm not mad at that. But I will say that women don't listen to us. Do they have patience with us? Yes, they do have patience with us. They do. But do they heed the words that we say? I would have to say no. And that goes back to when we use the term policing. Policing isn't always just us trying to control them, or you know, policing also has to deal with protection, and protection also has to deal with prevention. As a man, if you see something coming up that the woman does not see, and you give her guidance, and you give her a warning, but she does not heed that warning, then any consequence that befalls her, she has to be held accountable for it. So I would, just to answer your question, do they listen to us? I would have to say, for a large part, in this day and age, maybe back in the times of my grandparents, yeah, but in this day and age, no, they don't listen to us by and large. But do they have patience with us? Of course. They'll stay with us. When we, for the most part, when we don't have all the wealth and resources, they'll put up with a lot of our folly. But in terms of when a righteous man is seeking to lead and take his family from point A to point B, in this modern age, I'd have to say no, they do not listen to us.
Mm. E- And this open to anyone. Uh, as men in the community, once we step out our own families and everything, do we even, as black men, do we have a right to tell our women how they should be dressing or how they wear their hair? Should we even have input on that? Like, is that even a place for us as black men to even tell our women? That just get that on tape. Do we even have a place to tell? And who want to take that first?
I mean, I take it and I say, hell yeah, we do. You know what I mean? But let's take women out of it, right? And I mean, I don't want to take women out of it, but I'm just saying in this situation, let's say the youth. You know what I mean? Do we have the right to tell a youth this, that, and the third? You do a lot in the community. You know what I mean? I do a lot in the community. It's just a certain. I don't give a damn what demographic that we're talking about. If you're not coming, your intentions matter. If I don't know who you are, that matters. So I can't. If you want to engage young people, right? You can't walk up to young people talking about, man, what kind of haircut is that you got? Man, look how y'all wear your tight ass jeans and you lose them. You know what I'm
That's
saying?
right.
So let's replace the
Yeah.
youth with the women. So if the
Mm.
only thing I'm saying is your hair too long, you're this, you're that. Of course I don't want to hear what you got to say. You know what I'm saying? Because there's no equity. It's not that I don't like criticism. But just like us, black men and black women, we got the world against us. You know what I'm saying? And with black men, now listen, I'm an advocate of black men and black women. So if it was black women on this panel, my conversation would be from the perspective of black men. You know what I'm saying? If y'all were all women, right? So, but I'm trying to give a different sensitivity or nuance to the women's viewpoint because there's no women here. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But we got the world against us, bro. You know what I mean? We supposed to be protectors. You know what I'm saying? The world coming down on us. So versus us getting on the front line from their perception, versus us getting on the front line advocating for a fighting, we come and criticizing some shit that we don't even understand. Like Sha'Carri Richardson. You know what I'm saying? This woman, 20 years old, 21 years old, greatness, has been great from Carter from the jump, young. You know what I'm saying? She's in the fucking Olympics, bro. You know what I mean? When I was 20, I was wanted on the run facing 2 to 20 years in the penitentiary. You know what I'm saying? We don't know what that kind of works looks like. But guess what? She still gets criticized by who? Black men for what? Hair, nails, for her expression. You know what I'm saying? And men think they justify for that. Yes, it's a piece of it, right? But she's 20. You know what I mean?
So Joe, what is the proper way then? It like I understand like we
The
just
proper
can't
way is don't add to
like
the
when you use
energy.
the example of like the youth, like you just can't come and like be like this, just hit them with all these different things. What is the way to approach it then?
Some things you don't even approach. You know what I mean? It doesn't if it's gonna do more harm than good, you don't even do it. You don't what is my opinion? You know what I'm saying? What is me coming to the internet adding to this energy? Because guess what? I may have some real stuff to say, right?
Yeah.
In criticizing. But guess what? If I do it at this time, I'm blending in with the thousands of people who ain't got nothing to say, who's coming from a whole different place. So well, I would sit this one out. You know what I mean? And that's just my opinion. So if we quick to criticize, you know what I'm saying? And this comes with parents, and this comes with me and you. You know what I mean? A brotherhood is everything. It's not nothing that's just particular to man and woman relationship. It might be heightened, but if only thing we doing is criticizing, you know what I mean? Only thing we doing is you could be doing this, and okay, where are you depositing? Where are you helping me at? Where are you building me up? You know what I'm saying? Where are you planting me firm aside from your critique and turn me down with your tongue? You know what I'm saying? So, bro, I'll be going all over the place,
No,
but you know what
no,
I mean?
no.
We got to do both.
That's a good perspective because what's the point of giving the advice if it's going to cause more harm when the goal of the reason that you're giving the criticism per se, I hope people the reason they give criticism or constructive criticism if they want to see the person improve, but you saying by doing it you're not helping, so it shouldn't be said at all. um that's a good point
Well,
because I
calculated.
don't want to waste words on someone that's not going to take it well either at the same time. uh any thoughts on that, Josh?
I mean, when I look at trying to share my opinions or thoughts with just people in our community in general. I mean, I'll be honest with you. Most times, like, I don't even try it because my intentions could be good, right? And I could begin to approach them, but then in the back of my head, it's like, okay, they don't know me. Why should they listen to me? Maybe they had a bad day, and maybe they ain't trying to hear nothing I have to say. Especially when you talking about trying to have these conversations with women. So the best thing that I try to do is just lead by example. So what I mean by that, so basically, the way I treat my wife and my daughters, in public, is just a reflection of how I treat them at home. So, for example, when me and my wife have a disagreement in public, like, we not just finna have a big huge blow up like you see on Love and Hip Hop and any sort of nonsense. No, we just gonna keep it cool. We gonna take it away from the public sector. So we gonna get to the car, and then we gonna have that discussion. And even our disagreements ain't violent, ain't ratchet. They not crazy. They just, we really trying to share our hearts so we can really understand, what the issue is. So when I see, when I'm out in our community and I'm just walking through and I'm just looking at the people, a lot of times I don't even approach them because again, I got all those things that I'm asking in my mind. Now, sometimes I'll shoot my shot, right? I'll approach, right, and try to give some con- uh, con- constructive criticism while at the same time giving them some nuggets to build upon. But I'll be honest, in a lot of cases, I try to stay away from that because I've seen it go left and south very quickly.
Yeah. And I
Uh,
think
so,
and go ahead, Jaleel. I'm sorry.
oh no, I just wanted to say I definitely agree with the sentiment. Sometimes we can get on our being a member of the more sensitive of America. We don't say get on a high horse. So we say sometimes we can get on our high camel. We want to dictate to people. But we have a saying from our holy book that says why would the he says that the public is both unstable and ungrateful. Why would the wise man endanger himself for fools? So a lot of times we want to give our input, we want to give our portion of the understanding to people because we we believe that what we're saying is going to uplift them or to get them to a better place. But my spiritual leader, he always teaches us that the information out of season can do harm. So the message that you bring could be good. You could be really, and you could be coming from a place of love, sister. You shouldn't be talking loud like this, sister. You shouldn't be doing so and so, wearing such and such. The intent, the motive is good, but if it's out of season, if it's inappropriate, that sister not going to hear a word you saying. She's going to perceive it as you judging because let's address this point as well. So talking about police and women's bodies, just in today's society in general, not even just our people, but there's this big aversion to the concept of judgment. You cannot judge me. Only God can judge me. We're always hearing about judgment, and from what I've noticed in my years, the few years I've been around, particularly women have a big problem with this concept of judging. When you ask about they body count, how many people they have slept with, how many dudes they have talked to, it's this fear of being judged or being labeled, or having their being shamed. So in offering your advice, that's why you have to pick and choose your battles. You don't want to just rush head first and just offer your opinion. You got to scope the scene out. Is this person going to be receptive to the message that I'm bringing? And are they going to be able to receive it based on my energy? Just like my brother Joe, he's talking about talking to the youth. And we talk to the youth every single day. We talk to the youth. We talk to brothers that's, dealing, trapping. You ain't gonna go to a group of dudes that's on the corner. You see them on the corner, you know what they doing on the corner. You're gonna come with them like a square. Hey, bud, what do you got? Nah, there's a certain energy that you gotta radiate. There's a certain, stress-free environment that you gotta create in order for the message to come across. And I do believe, as it pertains to women and our sisters, that they will receive the message. But there's a way that you have to say it, and there's energy that you have to bring it. And even if you're going to do so in a very direct manner, the energy has to be there because the energy cannot be denied. The words and the quote unquote tone can be argued. But if I'm telling you, sis, you need to, and let's say you're talking to your little cousin and she's, a little promiscuous. Look, cuz you got to slow down on all this reckless behavior you doing. Because I don't want to see you dead. I don't want to see you with no venereal diseases. It's the spirit upon which you are coming to our women. They
Yeah.
can feel that. They can because they're spiritual. We're spiritual beings as well, but they're more in tune, naturally to that. So when you come with that right spirit at the appropriate time, I think you'll be able to get your point across. But if you see that your message is not going to, that's like don't go to a Barnum and Bay. Don't go to a Barnum and Brothers hair show talking about sisters don't be wearing weave. none of those sisters gonna hear you. You know what I'm saying? They're not gonna hear nothing you saying because they going to buy the weed. You know what I'm saying? So
That
it's all
man,
about using our perception, man.
that's what I'm getting some good pointers from you guys. My takeaway so far from what you guys saying is start in the household. So that's basically telling me, hey, we need to be building black families. We need more men in the household. Key, because that's that solves a lot of problems. When you have little girls, you can train them up from there. Now whether they go the right path, they hey, who knows? But it's a better chance. And then another thing is, um, we just can't be openly with bad, telling women out in the public, what they can and can't do if it's not coming from a place of love, because a lot of time it does seem like it coming from a place of hatred, because like Joe saying, society as a whole, because we live in a society of white supremacy where black men and women are being targeted and oppressed, and I guess sometimes when men do that to the women about when we add our input on certain things regarding their attire or how they wear their hair and nails, it feel like, oh my God, these men, they just added on to what the white men and the white society doing to us. So it's like, man, like damn, we can't catch a break. Our men doing
Excuse
it.
me, bro.
Yeah.
Excuse me, bro. There's one point that the brothers brought up about raising the children. All right, I don't have any children, but I am around. Most of the people that I hang around are men that fathers, grandfathers. Something that uh, my my direct spiritual teacher always teaches us because he has 5 children. And he has three grandchildren. He has 3 or 4 daughters, and he always says if you teach them, just like the old Bible verse say, train them up in the way that they should go. The brothers made an excellent point because I seen it with my own sister. Saying she was raised, we was all raised the same way, but nature will dictate which way that you go. I went a certain route, choosing the religion that I chose, choosing the activities that I chose as far as getting involved in the community. My little sister took, the route she took, and my twin sister took the route that she took. But at the end of the day, if you instill those values in your children, no matter how far off they stray, they're gonna always come back in some shape or form. So that's big to the point that y'all making about having fathers in the home and being that example. You talked about starting with the household. In New Era, we got our 5 levels of accountability. We got personal accountability, personal accountability, household accountability, and then community accountability, and then business and then government accountability. But it starts with the self, then the self starts with your household. And as men, to answer your question before, as men, we've got to model that within our own temple, within our own home, which is the body, our own self, and then we magnify that through the wife, through the children. If we got relatives that live with us, we got to be the message that we bring. We can't just and not to become, not to get so religious, but you know that's where I come from. You talk about Lucifer. Lucifer was the light bearer, but Lucifer only held the light. He never became it. We got the chance to not only carry that light, but also to actually be the light. And we gonna shine in this world of darkness. So it all starts with the self, and then it starts with the household. And when they see your example, especially your little girls, no matter how far off the path that they stray, they gonna always remember my dad raised me a certain way. My dad put certain values inside of my head and my heart. So when I go down this path or when I do this action, the first person they're not gonna think about mom, the teacher, they're gonna think about you. Like, man, what would my dad say if he see me doing this right now?
And
What would
we're
my
saying
dad,
that. So
you know
when
what I'm
we're
saying?
saying that, so basically, we shouldn't come at the women just straightforward. We shouldn't just come at them straightforward, just attacking them, the way they look, the way they dress. So I feel like, is it the best way to go about it, guys? Is the best way to go about it just say, hey, as a man, a black man myself, this is my standard. Uh, Like, because we all, at the end of the day, I feel like we all try to have some type of influence of the image in the black community, whether it's for the men or for the women. Is it safe to say it's better to just say, hey, me as Josh, me as Jalil, me as JoJo, this is my personal standard I like for me. Uh, this is what I like. So should women can't attack us if we say, hey, I like my woman to not wear long nails. I like my women to dress
No,
a way.
Kintu, listen, if that's your personal standard, just go and get you
Nah.
one. You know what I'm
No,
saying? So
yeah.
now listen to me, listen to me.
Go ahead, go
So
ahead.
so that's what I'm saying. So like on everything, like no, if you feel a certain way, the truth gonna cut no matter how you tell it. So some people don't want to hear the truth. They don't want to hear adverse opinions or none of that. You know what I mean?
Okay.
There's no way that you can guard away from that. But if I have a personal preference as far as a woman, you know what I mean? I'm gonna seek that woman out. I'm gonna put myself in a space to where I don't have to come to the internet and I don't have to come to the internet and say my personal preference is this, that, and the third, and all that. So now listen, me and you been friends on Facebook for a long time, right?
Yep.
You see my journey through prom with my daughters, with hair. I'm the dad that since they were born, I'm in and out the beauty shop with them. You know what I'm saying? These women know me, right? Now, at the end of the day, I hate weave. I hate it. You know what I'm saying? I hate that my daughters feel the need that they have to wear this and do that and all that kind of stuff. I kind of understand. I look at myself as a parent and I feel like in certain parts I failed in reaffirming them. You know what I'm saying? And eliminating that struggle from with their hair, right? But when I come to the internet and when I talk about it, right? You can make a post about it and I can make a post about it. I'm making a post about it in reference to my daughters. You know what I'm saying? In reference to my wife. So all the women that watch me interact, they see what kind of heart I got. They see what kind of spirit I got. You know what I'm saying? And they see me. They processing it too. They laughing. They this, that, and the third. But they taking that. They taking that critique. They taking that criticism. They taking that man's point of view. Why? Because I got equity with them. You know what I'm saying? So, but and I'm using my daughters, real life scenarios for them to, and they listening, and now we having this conversation. I'm able to give my opinion. You know what I mean? But I'm not coming across as this is law. You know what I mean? I'm not coming across. So guess what? When they show up, and even though I feel a certain way, what they end up doing, they end up making me understand it's a two-way street. So the question becomes, do you feel like you have more to teach women and nothing to learn from them? You know what I mean? Or do you feel like, and I'm not talking about you in particular, I'm talking about us as men. You know what I'm saying? Do we feel like that we have everything to teach women and nothing to learn from them? Or do we have some learning to do as well? You know what I'm saying? And I think it's the latter. We have a lot to learn from women, bro. You know what I'm saying? But we would not fucking listen. That's my opinion.
Brother, man, you made some powerful points.
Let me jump in real quick, Jaleel.
Go ahead.
So I feel like I think we do listen, Joe.
Yeah.
I think as men, like you say, you don't like certain things. Like with you are the example. But if men tell women, hey, we don't like certain things, not just men, they're just men in general. We say we don't like certain things. Is that so bad to tell our women that we don't approve as men of certain things?
No.
Is that so bad?
No. No. And so let me hop in. So someone in the chat said, be the example, and that's true. And so that a lot of, like, for me and my experiences is I don't necessarily have to say to women, what I think is acceptable or not. Right? They look at my wife. They look at my daughters. They see my daughters and my wife not wearing bonnets in public, head draped out and weave, not being, obnoxiously loud or anything like that. They just of the simple fact that they see me and my wife or my family just out, in public, just chilling, hanging out, and having a good time. you'll be surprised because sometimes they will come to my wife and then they'll start asking questions just because they're curious. You know what I'm saying? So again, right, I agree with that whole point. You know, be the example because people are watching black men, whether we know it or not, whether we see it or not, whether we believe it or not. Like they always are watching us to see what we're doing, to see how we conducting ourselves. And so, in case of a married man, you know what I'm saying, all I got to do is just go out somewhere with my wife in public, and then after a while, especially if they've seen us out in the community, consistently, they're gonna be curious, and they just gonna go to her, to strike up a conversation.
That's a good point, and I get the point of be the example, but at some point, as a collective, I'm thinking as a collective, the key is starting at home first. That is the key. Overall, that is the key. But then outside of that, as a collective, as black men, we gotta have a set standard. Because at the end of the day, we the leaders. Women, we the leaders. It starts with the men. And as men, we gotta have a set standard. We can't at the end of the day, we can't control what women do at the end of the day. But at the end of the day, they need to know what our standards are. You know, we gotta have some type of set standard. We can't just be out here mute out here at the end of the day. We can't be mute either, just say seeing women walking around like hookers and not say, okay, be quiet about it. I got my household.
Why is she walking around like a hooker though, bro? We haven't had to set standard with ourselves first, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like we have to have a certain standard or set standard with our first. And I'm not disagreeing with nothing you saying. And I appreciate this conversation because I didn't know how it was gonna be tonight with the word policing. You know what I mean? But these are conversations that need to be had with men, right? Where no one is posturing, no one is hollering, trying to be heard. Everybody just offering perspectives and not, you know what I'm saying? So like, bro, this is dope tonight. I appreciate you for having me. You know what I mean?
No doubt.
Yeah, but we gotta have standards for ourselves first. You know what I mean? So we can't run out, bro, and say and tell women what they should be doing. We can't run out and tell women. We can. You know what I mean? We have the right to articulate and to voice our feelings, our perspectives, but we can't lay it all on the foot of the woman while not exemplifying none of the shit that we criticize them for. You know what I'm saying? The problem is a lot of men come from a space of I get to do what I want to, act how I want to act, say what I want to say, contrary because I'm a man and you a woman and you can't do that. You know what I mean? And oftentimes you're talking to a woman that has been molested. You know what I mean? You're talking to a woman that has, as a child, you're talking to a woman has been raped as a teenager. You're talking to a woman that's dealing with certain things that we wouldn't even understand. You know what I'm saying? And then we come and we play and we trigger them and we push their emotions, we push their butts for a good time, but you don't know what you don't offset and put. You know what I mean? So the simplest definition of community is the behavior of one multiplied by 1,000. So take that one behavior and multiply that shit times 1,000, and then multiply that shit times 1,000, and that's all they get. You know what I'm saying? So that's why, bro. If I want to speak on something about women and I want it to be received, I wait until the conversation is not really high, and I'm talking about on social media. I wait until everybody's not having a certain opinion, or I make sure I deliver it with a certain sensitivity that leaves room for people to come on. You know what I mean? And talk and disagree. Old head 60 plus have failed. It's up to the 40 and under crowd to reclaim. We got the comments jumping, but yeah, man, we got to set a standard for ourselves, bro. You know what I mean? We can't tell women that they can do that they can't do this and they can't do that. They supposed to be doing that because they women, but as men, we not doing what we supposed to do. We not building healthy families. You know what I mean? We not socking it to the white man. You know what I mean? All the shit that we do is theatrics. You know what I'm saying? And in theory and shit. So yes, I know I go on, but we can have a standard, but we got to have a standard for ourselves first.
Joe, I want to go back. I want to piggyback on something you said. A couple things you said.
You mind if I jump in there real quick, bro?
Hold on. I want me to address what something you said because I forget if I don't. Uh, you said that the reason why they're like that, in your opinion, like uh, I know you said they've been the sexual assault and they got different things going on that cause them to be like the things we disagree with, what we see out there. So you saying that that's the majority or just a small sample size? Like, because if I'm seeing a large sample size of women, I know all of them ain't been touched. That's the reason why they out here just dressing and looking all type of ways now. So it got to be something else going on too.
Nah, but I mean, I'm not gonna say, I can't say what the sample size is, but I can say it's prevalent, and I can say that a lot of times a woman's first heartbeat comes from her father. You know what I'm saying? Her father wasn't there to protect her. Her father wasn't there to instill certain things in her and make her feel confident coming up. You know what I mean? And protect her and set certain boundaries and discipline her and do all this other kind of shit. You know what I mean? So whether she hasn't been touched or not, she been let down. She hasn't had any guidance from a man. You know what I'm saying? And when you dealing with a woman one-on-one, you inherit that. You know what I'm saying? When you deal with a woman and you meet her, you inherit, just like she inherit all your shit, you inherit all of her baggage, all of her trauma, all of the things that she's been through. Now, how you deal with it, that determines what you're going to get out this woman. You know what I mean? And it's solely based on your value system and what type of man you are. You know what I mean? But yes, a lot of women, bro, men need to first take accountability. You know what I'm saying? We need to take accountability and understand that when you meet a woman or when you engaging with these women, whatever it is, it doesn't start right there. It starts with everything she's done been through. You know what I mean? You inherit this shit, but we just want it right here. And we don't want to unpack none of this shit. We don't want to get to the root of none of it. We don't want to understand the behavior. You know what I mean? That's like you going to the doctor and you got a cough, and the doctor tell you, stop coughing. Why the fuck you steady coughing? You know what I'm saying? No, I gotta run these tests and see what the cough is and get to the root of it and see. You know what I'm saying? What's this cough and what we gonna do about this cough? Come on, man. It's simple.
Yeah,
It ain't that
Jaleel, go
complicated.
ahead.
Yeah,
Go ahead, Jaleel. I
yeah,
know you had something on
yeah.
your mind. Go ahead, Jaleel.
To that point, brother, you make it fun. Brother Joe, right? Brother
Yeah,
Joe?
it's dope. Uh-huh.
Joe? Okay. He made a very, very, very powerful point, and he is very correct. However, we're not doctors, right? So it's not our job as men to try and rectify past traumas that we're not qualified to rectify. You get what I'm saying? Like, I understand what he's saying, but there's this notion within our community that, you know, we have to try and heal people when people need to be working to heal themselves. No matter what you've been through as an adult, you have the means, the opportunity, and the tools to be able to fix whatever trauma that you've been through. Case in point, we have a saying in my particular religious group that every nation has suffered slavery. So what that means to me is we as African Americans, we try to use the slavery card to justify our bad behavior. Oh, well, men don't stay in the home because of slavery. Oh, well, women don't do this because at some point we got to realize everybody has gone through something. You know, everybody might not have been physically assaulted, physically molested, physically hurt, but we have all gone through trauma, and those trauma, no matter how severe, do not justify the actions, the attitudes, the styles of dress. These things that we use trauma to justify the behavior of our sisters, they're not justifiable. They have to go and seek the counseling, seek the therapy, do the self work in order to present themselves in a healthy form of fashion. Now, I'm not saying to be insensitive to the issues that our women and our people have gone through, but I'm saying that it is not our job. As your husband, it's not my job to try to heal you. You must come whole. That's why I give honors to my brother Baba Baruti. He talks about the concept of two wholes coming together forming a complement to each other. I have to be whole within myself, complete within myself. She must come whole and complete within herself. But the problem in our community is that you got fragments of human beings trying to come together to complete themselves, and so you get the chaos, you get the turmoil, you get the absolute hell that we're catching dealing with each other because we have not healed ourselves and gone through the healing process. So I understand the need for the sensitivity, and I understand the need for us to approach things. I wouldn't say with kid gloves, but the brother brought up the example of the doctor. I'm not a doctor. I'm your boyfriend. I'm your husband. If you got a cough, you go to those who are qualified to fix that, and I'm here to support you in that healing process. But I cannot heal you, just like I cannot. I learned this as young as I am. I learned this young. I've never made one woman happy in her life. She has to already be happy or be on that journey to happy. Just like can't no woman make me happy. That all radiates from within. And I think we're looking at things from an external, bringing this. No, her happiness, her mental stability, her mental health has to be settled within herself, so that when she comes and she meets my brother, she meets Brother King too. She's coming as a whole human being, despite the trauma. Because as I said, everybody, everybody that's on this panel, everybody that's watching, everybody that will watch, have gone through something. And now to you, it might be minuscule, but to that person, that changed their whole life. So does that trauma justify being rude? Does that trauma justify being being inconsiderate? Does it justify being promiscuous? No, it does not. These are things that must be settled within that individual person. And since we're talking about women, sisters have to. There's all this talk about self care and all this other crap. Listen, self care is take yourself to the nearest trained professional to deal with your trauma. If you have been raped, you have been molested, you do not need to be in a relationship. You do not need to be with a man.
So
You
she's
have
not
to.
worthy
Facts.
of love.
No, no,
So
no, no,
so
no.
so
I'm not saying no, no. Hold on. I'm not saying she's not worthy of love. She is really worthy of love. That self love, because if you don't love yourself and take care of yourself, my love is not going to do nothing for you. It's not going to do nothing for you. That's my perspective. She has to
Agree.
be willing to take that first step of self love and take the step to get her issues worked out, so that way when she comes across a man that is whole and complete within himself, then it's a perfect. It's not a perfect union, but it's a union striving for perfection instead of this chaos that we've been getting with broken people, unhealed, damaged people trying to get with each other, trying to heal each other when they none of us qualified to do that.
And
let
I
me give
feel
you
that. Go ahead, John.
a Kentu, let me give you my example really quick. So in my relationship, what I told my wife was, okay, I'm not responsible to heal you, and I'm not the one that caused your trauma. But what I will do is I'm going to be there with you every step of the way. So I'm going to be there to support you. I'm going to be there, when that healing session was hard and you couldn't do nothing but just cry. And so I'm going to give you my shoulder, right? I'm going to be there with you every step of the way through every process that you have to go through to get healed. I can't do that work for you, right? And I am going to hold you accountable to going through the process so you can overcome those traumas. But I'm not just going, push you to the side, and you be by yourself while you go through it. No, I'm going to be there with you at like every step of the way. So that's how I handle trauma, like when it comes to a relationship with me and my wife. Now, understanding that a lot of women do have trauma, either from recent years or either from childhood. In my opinion, that is one of the biggest reasons why they kind of repel the opinions and constructive criticism that comes from us. Now, not saying it's right, not saying it's fair, but that is a reason. And so we're going to have to, and this has to be a whole different broadcast, a whole different live. but it's gonna take like some time to really unpack that and understand that before we can truly make like an impression upon women that to truly get them to understand where we're coming from. Again, that's my opinion.
I'm gonna give y'all something to unpack here. This gonna be. I'm gonna see how y'all take it.
Come on.
I'm gonna just be raw with y'all.
Yeah.
Now it's some truth in everything y'all saying, Joe. You dropping some hard facts, some hard truths. But I'm gonna be honest. This is from my heart. I believe the majority of these women out here are the way they are because one, they grow up in single parent household. Two, we got a society of media just poor culture, just booty shaking, ass twerking. As men, we naturally like that. I make sure the shit on my timeline from time to time. I love to see ass. I'm guilty, but I don't think it's right though. Let's get but I think this is the reason why. Because men, as men, we've been silent for too long, and we don't even control our own culture and how our women are nowadays. And that's the reason single parent households and media has turned our women into whores.
No.
And looking whorish. So I think at the end of the day, the women are the way they are because they come from single homes with single mothers that probably grew up in whore culture and had a single parent, single home, the same cycle. And it's just a repeated cycle of whorehouse, whorehouse behaviors. And now men are starting to call out whorehouse behaviors and the women don't like it.
No, bro. I don't mean to.
And I think that's overall what it is. Women don't like to be told they acting like whores at the end of the day. And it's been going on for so long, they not even used to hearing a man tell them, hey, this is not cool. Dressing like this is not cool. They just, hey, fuck you. We don't have no reason because we don't control them anyway. They don't look to us for anything anymore.
Bro.
That just I could be wrong. But I think at the end of the day, it just women want to do what the hell they want to do. They don't give a fuck who tell them. They live in a society where they get what they want. Nobody can tell them anything. And
no,
that's just how it is.
I agree. Let me tell you something, Ken, too. I agree with the gist of what you're saying, right? You know what I mean? And black women adopted the wrong femininity. You know what I mean? They adopted the wrong femininity. In my opinion, Beyonce should be the head of the feminist movement. You know what I'm saying? That Lemonade album, that's the most feminist. That's what black women need to be championing. You know what I mean? That was an album about her, not healing her black man, but providing a space to where he can be healed. You know what I mean? Relating to a black man. So I get that, but what you just expressed is what's wrong. You know what I'm saying? As a man, and that's why they look at us how they look at us, bro. You just said what's wrong with whore culture and all these things, but you in the next breath you said you share it and you like it and you go, you know what I'm saying? So they thing is, how the fuck you finna tell us not to do this? You know what I'm saying? And this is what our men like. This is what y'all like. You will say, yeah, I like that the fuck. And listen to me, neither one is wrong because I'm a man and I get exactly where you coming from. You know what I'm saying? And I tell my daughters, yes, that's a fun girl. You know what I mean? If you're going to be a fun girl, be a fun girl. If you're going to be, it ain't no riding the fence. So I'm not, we got to get out of that right and wrong shit, right? You know what I'm saying? But what I'm saying is, since we talking with women and they are part of the equation, you can't as a man say that whole shit is this and with this whore culture. That's what's wrong with our communities. That's what's killing our communities. That's what's killing our communities. And then in the next breath, champion it and promote it. You know what I'm saying? Because we dealing with women, right, that want acceptance, want validation, haven't been validated from men as a father of youngsters. They come up, they want that. All this shit that you saying, even with the fathers being out of the home. We can talk about racism, but that's us being checkmated, bro.
You know what I'm saying? That's us being removed from the household. We can blame welfare, we can blame women, we can blame the prison industrial complex, we can blame whatever. But it's white men kicking our ass and uprooting us, and our families coming up under their leadership. You know what I'm saying? So it still goes back to the black man. And then we get up and say, yeah, that shit killing the what's name is producing these hoes. By the way, I'm finna go to the strip club. Hey, hoes, you know what I'm saying? Oh, yeah, that's what I like it. Bro, it don't add up. So ain't nobody saying that you can't do that, but you can't do that, in my opinion, like from a woman, wanting leadership from a woman, wanting a woman to serve you, wanting a woman to get behind and support. You can't push that and then try to lead women. It's confusion. You know what I'm saying?
I'm trying to see
Few things,
that it is confusion, but my thing is, like you just said, fun girl. We let him know, okay, you can't say you want a good man, you want this type of man,
I
and then
value women,
you
bro,
doing you
fun
doing this
girl.
type of thing. Yeah, I'm a man. I like ass, but that ain't what I'm trying to wife up. If that's what you want to be, you can't be dressing like a whore and want to be a housewife too. You know, you can't have it both ways.
As
so
my
so
uncle,
so.
as
Go
my
ahead, bro.
uncle would say, you know, or excuse me, not my uncle, but well, one of my coworkers that I used to call uncle back in the day. He said everybody has a place in society, right? The good girls and the hoes. Now, as far as the hoes and the thoughts, they got a place in society too. It may not be what they want, but they still have a place in society.
And that's the point, So a few things we know that man and woman, we got our natures. You know what I'm saying? I think I think what we're talking about, just as the brother had just mentioned, everybody has their place. I think back in the days, the fun girls, the Tatianas, all them, they had a specific realm that they existed in. The issue now is that that realm is now becoming mainstream, whereas where it was only relegated to the Green Mile or the track, to the strip club or whatever. Now it's like the whole society wants to be prostitutes. I think that's what we're talking about. Another point, when going back to trauma and healing and the root of all this, uh, you brought up a point, brother Sankar, when you were talking about how this is just something that women want to do. I would say that also aids to the trauma, because we often talk about in regards to women, oh, they've been raped, or they've been molested, but we don't talk about the primary cause of a lot of their traumas, which is self-inflicted trauma through bad choices and through bad decisions. A lot of these women have made bad choices. They didn't necessarily pick the right guy to be with. They didn't go right when they should have went left. They went left when they should have went right. So that adds on to the trouble, and that adds on to what we see now with this society of promiscuousness and sexual freedom and sexual liberation, which in essence is not a bad thing. A woman should be able to engage with whoever she desires, but the removal of consequences and the removal of the fact of there being consequences is, I think, what we're seeing. That's why it's so prevalent. That's why you can turn on the VMAs and turn on the Grammys, and Nicki Minaj is licking all over Cardi B. You can see, I can't remember the girl name. She gyrating all in Tiana Taylor face. You see these licentious acts
But
because this is what, to the point of the brother, these are the things that are being championed in this day and time. You know what I'm
but
saying? These are the things, but just give me a minute.
okay.
It's championed because we as men like to see it, but in me talking to women, right? So I'll talk because I'll straight up ask women, Like, what is up with y'all and twerking? What is so liberating about twerking? What is so liberating with y'all always, especially my spiritual sisters? Shout out to the spiritual sisters. But them, boy, that's a whole nother conversation. But I've asked them. I didn't just hypothesize. I went to them like, what is up with y'all? And always wanted to express your sexuality. And in their minds, they feel as if, and someone brought up femininity. In their minds, this is, being scantily clad, being, dancing and twerking and like it brings up a carnal nature, And in my particular school of thought, we taught about the higher self and the lower self. We're taught that the lower self, breeds hatred, slander, lewdness, murder, death, and everything that harms. See, when we promote things of the lower self, when we promote lewdness, licentiousness, promiscuity, as men, we're giving the green light to the women. That goes back to the standard we was talking about. If our standard as a society, as men, is we want virtuous women, we want modest women. These are the things that we want, and we actively work to set the ground and set the environment for that to come about. When the women, they're not going to have any choice but to fall in line with that, because these are the things that we're demanding. Going back to what one of the brothers commented, us being an example. If we want our women to be virtuous, we got to be virtuous. If we want our women to put the promiscuous and the licentious things down, then we got to stop advocating for it, or at least understand there's an appropriate time for everything. It's an appropriate time for women to, get their freak on and all that, but it ain't got to be at the basketball game in front of kids. It ain't got to be on the stage in front of the whole world. You know what I'm saying? We have to set that example, so
go ahead, Joe. Good point, Jaleel. Go ahead, Joe.
Damn, he was saying something about, I forgot, but he was saying something about, how things are today. You know what I mean? And I know he said that he was kind of younger, but or just how prevalent this shit has always been this prevalent, bro. You know what I mean? Luke has been around. Luke been around. I was raised bust down, nasty bitch. Too short. You know what I'm saying? Had all of these women. Like, this is nothing new. The only thing new is that it's coming from the women now. You know what I'm saying? So the hypocrisy is that it's cool as long as the men do it. So guess what? A man can talk about robbing, stealing, killing, fucking hoes, fuck bitches. I got 10 bitches ain't shit. Do this, blah blah blah, and it's cool. But the moment Cardi B come out and say something, then it's how dare you? You know what I mean? So again, it goes back to us and our leadership, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
We can get deep, bro. We can get philosophical. We can do all of this other kind of shit. So, and I went through all of those stages, and I had that revelation, man. This shit started in the household. You know what I mean? The basis of community is family. You know what I'm saying? You can tell the health of a community by the health of the family. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, and it's like that with all of these topics. It's like with these people that's getting, like, with these men that's doing nothing in the community. And excuse me, because I don't look at this energy and shit just as one thing, right? You know what I'm saying? So I know we on this conversation, but it's like with the gay conversation, right? And with the images that they get, you got these men that's doing nothing in the community, but coming to the internet talking about they trying to make our kids gay. You know what I mean? They doing this. It's an agenda. What are you doing? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. What are you doing? What are you countering this? You know what I mean? What are you doing other than pointing out a problem? So even with that, bro, damn, he said
that's a good point. No, that's a good point. We can't be pointing the finger, talking about things women need to be doing if we not upholding our part as well. I'm totally with you on that, Joe. I totally agree on that. My only thing to add on that is I think, and we all men, I think we all grew up in a society that we understood as men that it's consequences to the things we do. Like, Joe, you were talking about your early years, you did things, but you got yourself straightened up because we know it's consequence It's no fallback. We know it's men. It's no safety net out here in the world for us. I think one of the biggest problems, and it's not women's fault. I think because they know they have safety net. It's no backlash or nothing like that. So it gives them a little more leeway to do the things we see in society. Not saying that it's their fault, but I think that's one of the issues as well. They have a bigger safety net compared to us because we grew up knowing its consequences. It's no fallback for us. It's no system there to protect us as black men. And I think we know wrong as we hit our 30s, like we got to get our shit together because it's nothing there to help us out in the long run as black men. Um, I don't know if y'all agree with that, but that's my little take on that. But I think overall y'all added an interest perspective on it. Started at the end of the day, self accountability as men. We got to be the examples. Uh, the household, black family first starts there. Um, but being this example. So Joe, I'm gonna ask you this. I'm gonna ask you this because man, you got good insight. I appreciate you for jumping on. As men that don't have families, how can we be the example? Besides not sharing booty shaking on our timelines,
No,
but how
no,
can we?
say, bro, listen, share booty shaking. You know what I mean? Like what you like, right? You know what I'm saying? But just know that when you speak to these women and you doing it, you coming from a place of an opinion, not a place of law. You know what I'm saying? I don't think women, a certain type of woman, I don't think they have a problem with your opinion. They have a problem with when you say it is law. That's why I'm the empathetic asshole, the enlightened hypocrite. I'm a hypocrite, bro. You know what I'm saying? To be a hypocrite is to be human. I know I fuck up, but I know my word isn't law. I know that because I'm as God ain't said. But the question was, what can you do as single men? I would say, listen, bro. Like it's very simple. You know what I'm saying? And it's hard to do. Do you know how long it took me, bro? Like listen to me, Kento. You know I'm real honest. I'm 100%. You know what I'm saying? Do you know how long it took me as a man to realize the value of listening to a woman? You know what I'm saying? And that comes from I wasn't given that. Yes, I was you know, my mother, trauma from my mother. We got trauma. You know what I'm saying? But even in that, society isn't taught to value our women. We aren't taught to listen to our women. We aren't taught that they have anything to offer us. But the truth of the matter is that women come out the womb smarter than us. You know what I'm saying? Specifically, black women, bro. Black women are the strongest women. When all babies are born, black women are the strongest. They recover from injury the fastest. You know what I mean? They require less support. You know what I mean? They walk before us. They talk before us. They are ahead of us, bro. Emotionally, intelligence, they killing us. And we suppress that shit. So I would say to any man, because me and this man right here, what's his name? The married guy?
Josh.
Joshua?
Josh. We are in the gym every day, bro. You know what I'm
Yep.
saying?
From the time you
Sometimes
wake
we
up
get
to
it
the time
right.
you go to sleep.
Bro, we in the gym every day. Sometimes you get it right, sometimes you don't. But we strengthening these muscles, bro. You might tear a muscle. You know what I mean? But we repairing and we strengthening these muscles. But a guy like you that has a heart, you know what I'm saying? But you single, you don't have a family, which is cool. You know what I'm saying? Understand you're not working those muscles. So how you gonna work those muscles? The strongest muscle need to be the listening muscle first. Then when you listen and you hear, now you know how to respond. Now you know how to react. Now you know whether you can even be effective in touching this woman and reaching her. But I would say the one thing to take a vow is to not add to anyone else's trauma. You know what I'm saying? Not add to anyone else's hurt and to make a conscious decision. That shit cool when we 20, 25. You know what I'm saying? But when we of the age and we have the kind of consciousness that we have, you know what I'm saying? That's even when a woman disrespect me, bro, and I know she wrong, and I know. I had a woman yesterday, bro. I swear to God. I had a woman, I looked at her. It's late night. She said, "What the fuck you looking at? Don't be motherfucking looking at me." You
Oh
know what I'm
wow.
saying? Bro, I'm talking about. I said, huh? You know what I'm saying? And it took everything in me not to call this woman a bitch, Ken, too. You know what I'm saying? But you know what I did? I'm telling you. You know what I did? I rolled down the street. I took a deep breath. I pulled back up on her. And there was two of them. I said, how old are you, young lady? She said, 22. I said, you just cursed me out and disrespected me this late night. Do you not watch the news? You know what I'm saying? I said, do you think? And I told her, listen, man, do not ever do that. Men are walking around here fucked up. You know what I mean? I'm just one of them people that I'm gonna protect you. I'm gonna look out for you. But her dad ain't told her that. She ain't got no daddy if she cussing black men out at 12 o'clock at night on the street. You know what I'm saying? So I didn't want to add to her trauma. That's what I'm saying. I don't. So we too old to be adding to people's traumas. We too old to be adding to people's insecurities. And I say, bro, just listen and respond to that instead of thinking that our opinions or your opinion is loud. You know what I mean? You might be a king. You know what I mean? But just,
No, I would never say I feel like my opinion, my what I say is law. But
yeah,
at the, I think at the end of the day, I think women should have some type of gauge of how men feel about things. Is that fair for them to have a gauge of how we feel and think about certain things? Is that fair, Joe?
yeah, of course, bro.
Okay.
I'm not. Listen, I'm not getting on here saying we can't say no. The criticism needs to come from us. If it don't come from the black man, who is gonna come from? You know what I mean? The correction needs to come from us. Like, yeah, they need to hear it. But if that all they hearing, they not gonna. If that's all they hearing from you, then what is it says more about you if you keep saying it like that. So, like you said earlier, am I saying this because you said any person that's criticizing, you would think that they want correction or they want the behavior to change. You know what I'm saying? But if
Yeah.
that's all you doing and you seeing you're not being effective at that point, why are you really doing it? You know what I'm saying? Are you doing it because you got some shit going on? Or are you doing it just because you want to piss somebody off? It's a plaything. Or you doing it because you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So now they gotta hear it from Ken too. They gotta hear it from JoJo. They gotta hear it from Josh and all the J's on this platform. You know what I'm saying? They gotta hear from us, but it can't be the only thing. Once you kick that chirp out from up under him, bro, you got to be able to catch him. You know what I mean?
Now, guys, now that's a great point. But let me throw this in here. Let's be honest. Who get more praise in the society? I'm not saying I'm not having trying to have a pissing contest between the men and the women, but let's be honest. Women get the praise. They get the praise. I don't. They get more praise. It's a praise happy society for black women. So I get you have a valid point. We can't be thumping down on black women, but come on, let's be real. They get all the praise in the society. I mean, black men for years been talked down on throughout the ages. So
We
I'm
both
trying,
been getting our ass kicked.
yeah.
Somebody else respond because me and Kentu will be going all night. You need to come on the show, bro. You gonna come on the show?
I'm coming, man. I'm
Okay.
coming.
Good.
Who else want to respond to that? I got 9% left on my phone, so we about to wrap it up. But I'm gonna let somebody else respond to that. Who want to take it?
Nah, I just say the brother brought up an example with the young women about them cussing them out. I'll just say, and this is nothing against the brother because I know the spirit unto which he said, we talked about how the women are strong, how black women are strong. But I think we have to understand that us constantly reinforcing this strong narrative to black women is the reason why they have they have rationalized this ability to talk to men any way that they feel like it. Because in their mind, somewhere in the crevices and the recesses of their soul, they actually feel like they can physically back up the things that they say because it's every day. You a strong black woman. You a strong black woman. You strong. You powerful. You the greatest. I think as the men, we have to be able to provide a space for them not to always be so strong, not to always be so powerful, but to actually be, to be what whoever God you believe in, whatever, to be what nature intended them to be, and that is the weaker vessel. I've grown up with women who have this hyper aggressiveness, and yeah, when we was little, they could back it up. But once I hit about 13, and I hit that growth spurt, and I came from being 5'1" to 5'10". You know what I'm saying? And I'm towering over you. That physical advantage is gone. So I think that's a slippery slope because, like I said, the brother was saying it in spirit of admiration because boy, our women are the most unique women on earth. They are the most talented women on earth, and they are definitely, in a sense, the strongest women on earth. But sometimes we can empower them to a point where they now look at us, they look at you and I as being on the equal playing field, and that's simply not the case. We're not equal. We were. Dang, I'm trying to articulate it in a way that makes sense. We have our own strengths as men, and we have our own weaknesses as men. They have their own strengths as women, and they have their own weaknesses as women. We have to stop trying to put all their stats on 100 when their stats is not at 100. And sometimes we can even diminish our own stats trying to put them at 100. You know what I'm saying? We have to find that balance to where we can complement each other on a societal level. I ain't saying that this is something that only has to be between men and women that are in a relationship. But this is something that, we can empower our sisters to be feminine, to be soft, to be weak, just as we want them to empower us to be strong, to be leaders, because we always talking about leadership. Nah, yeah, man, we do more.
Man,
I
and
mean,
that's a good and
Sister
that is
Jessica, man, and look, high honors to Sister Jessica, man, because I follow on Facebook,
He
and the
deleted
work
me
that's being done.
because I disagree with Kentu about the women. So, but keep going. I didn't mean to cut you off. I just had to put that in there.
No, 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 no. All is well, man. Once again, honors to Sister Jessica. You know, your strength is in the difference between you and me. Being these hyper aggressive, being these rude, being these macho women. That's not a strength. That's really a weakness. I used to tell my sister all the time, your strength comes from your femininity. Stop trying to get at or get up there with a man and understand you got a power that man don't have. You get to argue with a man. Don't be so nigga. What you say? Nah. Don't be don't be so quick to want to be so violent. Understand that you can shrink it. Not shrink. That's the wrong word. There's power in being feminine. There's power in being gentle. And that's a power that we don't have as men. So it's not to diminish the power that women do have because they do certainly have power, but it's power in their own respect. It's not the same power that we possess, and a lot of times the wires get crossed up because we all trying to achieve the same power. We all trying to be the big bad wolf. Nah, the pack leader got to be the pack leader, and then you got the wolves that follow the pack leader. And biologically and traditionally, that pack leader is the man. But that don't mean that the women that's in the pack are these inferior creatures. Because I think that's what a lot of black women hear when we had these conversations, that we want them to be inferior. And that's not at all what we're saying. We're saying be strong in that which makes a woman strong. And being a strong woman is not being macho, being bold, being loud. It's being a woman. It's complementing that which a man does not have or have in abundance, which is femininity. That's all I got to
I'm a
say.
big believer in everybody has a lane, right? Men and women, generally speaking, have a lane, and we have to stay in our lane, right? Because again, the waters have been muddied, right? Because of either hypocrisy, because Father wasn't there, because we weren't there, right? Or we are, a history of us dropping the ball one time too many. So we have to reestablish what those lanes are. Now what it looks like, for a man to properly lead right, himself first before he decides to take on the responsibility of leading a family, leading a wife, leading the children, leading a community. So we have to take care of us first. Now, again, when we talk about the hyper macho or the hyper aggressive women, right? And I saw a comment in the chat: women do more, and in some cases, yes, that's true. But I also wonder, okay, did women have to do more just because they couldn't depend on dad because dad effed up and dropped the ball, or grandpa effed up and dropped the ball, or some masculine figure in their life messed up and dropped the ball, so now they had to take on that masculine aura per se, right? So again, well, we have to reestablish what the lanes are, what it means to be a man, and also what it means to be a woman, and then give each other the space and the support, right, to be that man and to be that woman. And that's not easy, right? That's going to take time. That's going to take years, decades, I mean centuries, right? I mean, it just depends on how soon we can get this thing rolling.
And I agree with him. Like he said, that masculinity that the other brother talk about is not a want, it's a coping mechanism. You know what I'm saying? And even when he got to talking about, the choices that they make and they have to do this, there, guess what? Our youth make fucked up choices. We don't throw them away. We don't condemn them. You know what I mean? So I'm just saying, even with women, bro, like how we frame these conversations, that our issues are so deep with them, in my opinion, that we frame conversations totally different and we take a certain sensitivity away when we get to talking about women. You know what I mean? So, and he was saying something a while ago when he was saying, that their stats on 100, and we got their stats on 100. We build them up. We call them strong and all that other kind of stuff. And no, it's that really we put their stats on 0. We don't value our women, bro. You know what I'm saying? We got black men out here. I'm not talking about the women because we talking about black men. We got black men out here questioning, is it even worth, like, this how far we off from it? Is it even worth getting married? You know what I mean?
We have a lot of incels in our community.
You say
That's a whole
what?
different. We got a whole lot of incels in our community too, but that's a whole different conversation.
You know what I mean? It's a whole different conversation. You know what I'm saying? So it's just, man, I just think, bro, we have to do better. Men.
Now, Joe, the harp back on that. Now, go back. You was about to make the point about when men talking about should we get married. What you was about to say?
Because he was saying that women want their value to be on 100. They want their stats to be on 100. And I'm saying, I don't think that. I think their problem is that their stats is on 0, that we don't value our women. We don't know the benefits of a woman. We don't know the what women bring to our table, or what women add to our lives, to the point to where the alienation is so thick. And I'm talking about men. We asking, what's the even value of a woman? You know what I mean? Why do I need a woman other than a nut? You know what I'm saying? And like I said, I get the sentiments because of the mind state that we are in. And I'm not going to right or wrong, I don't think, but I'm just like, that's fucked up. You know what I'm saying? If you feel like what you need a woman for, go down there to TDC, nigga. You know what I'm saying? Go sit down there and lay up in a cell with another man and tell me, are you gonna be okay? You know what I mean? Like you got men, black men questioning, do we even need women, bro, in this world? So it's not that they want to be valued 100. They just want to be valued from they fucking men.
The point, well, yeah, but the point that I was making was not necessarily seeking to question their value. I know the value of it.
No. So look, let me correct that. I'm not no. So look, let me correct that. I'm not saying that you were, because you went off and you came back. You know what I'm saying?
No. The point that I'm making is, well, to address that point, when it comes to the value of women that a lot of men don't see, because I hear the same argument. You know what I'm saying? Like, what's the point? What's the part? Why do we even need women? Part of self. In all actuality, and this is just being straight up, no cap. That's bad marketing on the women's part. Because at the end of the day, as men and women, we're marketing to each other. We're advertising for each other as men through the works that we do, protecting, providing, is to advertise. Okay, see my value as a man, and vice versa with women. This disenfranchisement that a lot of men, and that's not even just a racial issue. That's just that's that's an issue that's going on today between the genders, regardless of race. That's bad marketing, just from my perspective on the women part. They have not articulated or even demonstrated the value of a woman. Why is there so many of these men out of the blue are involuntary celibates that are choosing to not get with women, choosing to go what they call it, monk mode. You know what I'm saying?
MGTOW.
Because MGTOW, men going their own way, to red pill, all this, all these different coping mechanisms. Some men can't get women. Some men don't see the value of women because women have not demonstrated their value in the way that will show, okay, yeah, I need a woman. I need a wife. I need a partner. I need a companion. I know guys that literally only, they say, I'll never get married. I'll never do none of that because whoop de whoop de whoop. And I'm like, bro, do you understand that the woman compliments you and adds on to you that you don't have, and vice versa. But that's from a perspective of, education on my part and having a deeper understanding. But that really falls on the women. They have to clean up their image. They have to show and demonstrate consistently why a man needs a woman. It's not up to me, because I can tell you, hey son, get your woman. But if he himself can't connect the dots, I'm just gonna be wasting my breath because he can't see it. They have to mend that bridge. That's how I look at it. It's really on them to fix their own image as to why men don't want women in this day and age.
Yeah, and it come down to a point where it's gonna have to be give and take on both parts from the men and women. Right now, the men are saying, and of course not all men, but I think it's a good share of men that I come across. They just, it's kind of like what JoJo was saying, but it's from the man perspective. I think the men want to be listened. They want to be valued. I think a lot of men feel like the women do not value them no more. Their thoughts, their opinion on things. Sometimes the men just want their input value at the end of the day, and women are
Yo, bro,
budging a lot. They not giving ground on anything. Seems like,
Man,
so look, case in point. There's a lot of brothers, and when I say brother, I'm just speaking for men in general, not just African American men. But it's a lot of men that are saying, "Well, I don't want to go out and date no more." It's a lot of men saying, "Well, if we are gonna go out on dates, we got to do Dutch." Why? Because it's a lot of men, and I ain't gonna hold you. This happened to me a couple times. It don't happen to me as much now, but my younger days, when you would date, a lot of women would just date just to get some free food, or they would have motives that would not be satisfactory to the men. So, the brother St. Carl is making a valuable point. A lot of men in this dating market, in this relationship market, don't feel that they are being valued as men, or that they're only being seen as going to the marriage port. They feel like they're only going to be seen as a walking ATM. They're going to be only seen as someone to jump in front of a bullet. Like, basically, they're being seen as not a human being with thoughts, feelings, emotions, opinion. A lot of men feel like they're just a utility, a tool, no different from a hammer, no different from a gun, no different from pliers. That's how a lot of men feel.
well,
So, and then
and that part.
in these conversations, sometimes as men, because we have all of us here, we have a traditional view. We'll look at those men and be like, well, that's weak, but these are their feelings.
Yeah,
So
and a man's supposed to provide. I don't have an issue with that. Me personally, I think you in a bad situation if your woman makes more money than you, because a woman ain't just she ain't built to have more money than a man. She ain't gonna never listen to that nigga in the house. But secondly, goes back to what Jessica was saying. She was talking about men see value in women on our domestic abilities, our labor. Always hollering about cooking and cleaning. They don't know the value of femininity if all they want is a maid.
That's not true.
Jessica, I gotta agree,
Not
but
true,
at the
sister.
same time, Jessica, you gotta look at it like this. That's what we value from a woman. Well, not all men, but majority of the men. That's what you value. I mean, you fighting against your I want to say your natural place. I want to say a woman natural place is in the kitchen, but we value that. That's our weakness. So our better half is that other shit that women are just naturally better at men at. Hands down, women are better at those type of skills more than men. I know it's some men that can probably cook better than women, but more so, most of the time, women are better at domestic skills, and men are more better at hard labor type work. Our body is just built to work, work, work. And we can handle more stress than women most of the time. We built like that. Y'all built to nurture and be more emotional. So I'm a person that believe in gender roles. That's a lot of problem with women. They don't believe in gender roles. They in this whole new age shit that is no gender roles, and which is completely bullshit to me.
I mean,
Uh,
I kind of, when I see that, you know, uh, cooking and cleaning, and that's all under the domestic abilities. I mean, that's kind of a limited view, in my opinion, of domestic abilities. Domestic abilities does include cooking and cleaning, but it also includes other things like, do you know how to set the atmosphere in a house so the children can feel safe and secure, and so that when your man comes home, he can feel welcomed and safe enough to share his innermost thoughts and concerns and his dreams. When I think of domestic abilities, I think of being able, to help your man plan a future, not just, for you and him, as a couple, but, to help set a foundation for your children, right? So again, domestic abilities to me is not just cooking and cleaning like a maid. I mean, there's much more that goes into like domestic abilities. The stuff that after being married for 12 years that I understand, because again, being in the gym for 12 years and continuously working at it and analyzing that, how my needs from a woman has evolved since when I first got married.
Man, I guess we gonna do final words right now. Man, this been a great discussion. If any, I see we still got some people watching. If y'all still watching, please subscribe to the channel, man. We gonna bring more live streams like this, more discussions, because at the end of the day, we're whether we have different views, I think for the most part, with us four, I think we all really agree on everything. It's just about finding that road to get to that point. We all got different roads to take to get to the solution. We all want the same thing for our people and for our community. I think we have different roads to get there, and I think that's where the slight differences are. But at the end of the day, we want the same thing for our people. Any final words? I'll start off with you, Joe. Any final words before we get out of here?
Yeah, man, I just want to say, like I say, I appreciate this discussion, man, and the spirit in which we had it in. You know what I'm saying? This is really rare, where it's brothers going back and forth, nobody's posturing, nobody's trying to tear nobody down. People just sharing. It's not ego driven. You know what I'm saying? But I want to say to you, I fundamentally disagree with a lot of the shit or a lot of your viewpoints. And I'm not saying that you're wrong and that I'm right. I'm saying I agree. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you come on there, you play, it's for shits and giggles. I be laughing. I'm like, this nigga funny. You know what I mean? He tripping. He then sometimes be like, man, he out of line, right? You know what I'm saying? I can't rock with that. But and I'm using this, right? But because I respect you and I respect the work that you try to do, you know what I mean? I respect you as a man and all that other kind of stuff, right? I don't show up when I disagree with you, or every time I come on there, I'm challenging you. You know what I mean? Why?
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, I might disagree with you, but I'm not trying to cause a wedge with you because I see shit this way and you see shit this way. You know what I'm saying? So if every time I disagree with Kentu and I come in it, you would probably be like, man, this nigga on some bullshit. You know what I'm saying? But I'm not, so I'm mindful of that. Man, I ain't finna, I'ma skip it. So I'm just saying, so the same grace and mercy that I give the intention that I give you,
Yeah.
because I care about the relationship. You know what I'm saying? You ain't did nothing that's just so bad. Woo, woo, woo. Nah, the dude, he for the people. He this, that, and there. We just disagree. We see it right here. So I'm saying it's the same thing with the women. You know what I'm saying? Kentu, you know, whether you know it or not, it's a shortage of men. You know what I mean? Stand-up men, admirable men, men with voices, men that's trying just a piece of man. So people do indirectly, whether they let you know, they look to people for men for in certain shit, for leadership, to be a voice of to this, that, and the third. They may not say it, but they watching. You know what I'm saying? So I'm saying within that same spirit, bro, keep doing what you're doing. Don't change. You know what I mean? Be you always. You know what I'm saying? But just be mindful, bro, that because I see some of the conversations, and I would just say just brother to brother, just be kind of mindful moving forward. You know what I mean? That your words do matter. You know what I mean? Like people do take what you say to heart, or do take it seriously. You know what I mean? And you really can drive a motherfucker up there wild with it. But I
Man,
appreciate
I really do appreciate it. I needed to hear that. And moving forward, man, I'm always striving to be a better person. Jessica may not believe that, but I'm gonna take what you. I'm really gonna take what you're saying really seriously. You know, like that's some good wisdom right there. I'm gonna take it to heart and really try to implement that, brother. I appreciate that. Jaleel, what you want to say before we get out of here?
Man, I first want to extend honor to you, bro, for allowing me to come on to this platform. It's a beautiful platform. You know, I know it's growing and evolving, and I see it being a very, 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 very successful uh, broadcast. I see it growing and being up there with, the great programs that's going on today. So I just tell you to keep growing and just keep evolving. And I definitely would love to come back whenever you like, bro, and just to add on to the conversation. And I also want to extend honors to the two other panelists. Just one for just them being who they are, um, just being themselves, being fathers, being husbands. That's something that I always admire when brothers are actually stepping up and taking on the responsibility of being leaders of households. So I just want to give those brothers their props because we need more men. We need more husbands. We need more families because the family, and it's not to disparage any of my sisters who are without husbands at this time who have children, but a family don't start with a man and some kids. The family don't start with kids and their mama. The family unit really starts with a man and a woman, a husband and a wife. So to see two brothers that's actually demonstrating that in real time and being, I mean, that alone is example enough for us that don't have families yet to follow. So I just want to give y'all props and just thank y'all for raising the next generation so that they'll know what to do and that we won't have this confusion that we have now. I'll
Man,
just say that these discussions are very important. Um, as I stated before, it's all about the spirit in which you approach a situation. There's no hate and there's no animosity. We love our sisters. I know what I can say. I love my sisters, and a lot of my sisters in your era, they tease me about it. But everything that I say is not to disparage, but I want to see a new paradigm. I want to see a whole new way of life to where the things that we have normalized, the dysfunction that we have normalized, those things are no longer normal. Where family is what's normal. Where being righteous and being upright is what's normal. You know what I'm saying? So that's pretty much all. And I guess to lighten the mood a little bit, I know the brother Joe was talking about how he don't like weave, but I can honestly say, man, sometimes them lace wigs and lace fronts do be looking good, man. I don't mind the weave on sisters, man, because sometimes they be looking like they be looking good. You know what I'm saying? I like natural hair, but ain't nothing wrong with a little bit of what look, a
I
little bit of
like it
Remy.
when it looks natural, man.
Wait
Like
and
it
wavy.
look
You
like
feel what I'm
like
saying?
it should be on their
Nothing wrong
scalp.
with it. You
I
feel me?
like it when it look like it should be on their scalp. Now when they used to happen, I ain't gonna go there. I ain't gonna we ain't gonna go there with the colors and stuff tonight.
But honest to y'all brothers, man. Love y'all.
Josh, what you want to say?
Man, y'all funny. Man, hey, shout out to you, Ken, too. Shout out to the other panelists. Man, listen, this was a conversation that I think was much needed. I'm pretty sure that our women appreciate, some decent, honorable, sensible black men coming together and just really opening up about this conversation. Man, listen, it's hard work being a good, honorable, sensible black man, but hey, that's what we need to do. So we need to roll up our sleeves and get to it, right? And my final thoughts are everything starts with us. It starts with yourself as an individual. Build yourself. Level up, transform yourself into the honorable man that you need to be, right, for yourself, and then you can begin to pass that and set the example in our relationships and in our families, and then into our communities. Okay, again, it's hard work, but we got to do it. Can't nobody else do it for us. So let's roll up our sleeves and get to it.
Yeah, and this would be a great launching pad for us to all have more discussions, network, and build with each other. Because it's a lot of work. As like Joe says, work as men. We got to work on ourselves first. Be the example. Start with our family, and from there, man, we gonna do our part as men and build a community. Because as men, we are leaders, and I'm gonna take what Joe said to heart and listen, uh come from a place of kindness and don't pull on heartstrings as much as I used to and trigger people. And because I know what I be doing. I'm guilty. I before I hit the send button, I hit Jessica. I'm like, look, Jessica, this is what I'm about to send. And she like, don't do it. I'm gonna do it. But I appreciate you guys and everyone that watching. Please subscribe to the channel. Black Empowerment Movement. Share, subscribe, like, hit the notification button. But other than that, guys, hey, as we always end it, all power to the people. We all we got. We out of here. Peace out.
All power to the people.